And what is meant for me will not miss me. And how am I like turning little moments? How am I embodying like this way of being in the big moments and in the little moments? Because we are leading by example. That's what our business is giving people permission and taking every opportunity to like live the work. Because I think we've said that heaps of times before, it is a lifestyle. It's not just something you do once or twice. It is a way of being, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the tricky part for me, is being okay with like going with the flow and the what feels good instead of what I'm used to, which is, following the rules and a structure and an approach. And like I think that's certainly where I have continued to trip up, is remembering that's part of the magic as well. It's like it doesn't have to be hard.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be a certain way, and that every moment is the magic, right? Like how I'm showing up.
Yeah. Life is the whole human experience. It gets to be the whole thing. Like it's not just good moments and bad moments. It's all of it. It gets to be great. And when we explain what we do and who we work with, it gets a little bit confusing, and I get that, because it's something that needs to be felt. Like it's a vibe. What we're selling, what we're speaking into, what we're living, it's a vibe. And so until you are putting your hand up and experiencing it necessarily, it won't really make sense. It's really hard to actually articulate. And so by sharing our experiences and sharing what we're doing and sharing like the life moments is helping give some context and some like examples of what this actually looks like. And so maybe, going back to like what life was like, and it feels like such a long time ago, and sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to actually like get into the how was I feeling and what was life like prior. But sometimes I'll get a little reminder of it. Like this morning, I had a little flash of it. I was driving to drop the kids off and coming back, and I passed somebody on the road that I pass nearly every morning, and I just sat with this like such gratitude for I don't have to do the same thing every day, same routine every morning, go to bed at night with the same feeling of like almost like, oh, what did I actually do today? Like, was it any different? Like this subtle, like empty, unfulfilled feeling, like wishing that tomorrow was going to be better, or that I was going to actually finally feel like I was doing the thing that I wanted to do, but I just end up doing the same, like stuck in the same cycles, knowing that sacrificing the same things, snapping at my kids, clinging to like my phone, like productivity, trying to be busy all the time, like missing all of the moments, and getting to bed at night and then just waking up and knowing that I was going to do the same thing again tomorrow, like, and which is totally fine if I loved what I did and I loved who I was being in that environment, but I wasn't. Like I felt it felt terrifying to me, because I'm like, am I going to do this for every day for the rest of my life? And just having that, like meeting that person on the road for like the fourth day in a row, I was like, holy shit, that used to be that feeling of like, this is the same thing. And maybe it's the same person you see at the coffee shop every morning, or the same person that you sit next to at your desk every day, and you've got the same feeling of like, there's a difference, right? It doesn't matter what you do in this world, if it lights you up and you're excited and you love it, like that's the point. But if you're like, oh my God, do I seriously have to do this again? There's a problem there. Like this is some of the inquiry.
Yeah, what came up for me was dread.
Yeah.
It would be like dread. It would be like, oh, Sunday-itis, like the dread of like another working week ahead, and knowing like all the things I had to do and what I would have put up with, and yeah, that old sense of, you know, it was just like being a hamster on a wheel, I imagine, where it's like, you know, you're just going through the motions and doing the things, but always distracted somehow with like, when is it going to get better? But when I go on that holiday, maybe, or, you know, like, yeah, just a sense of dissatisfaction underneath.
Yeah,
what I was doing.
Also with a knowing of like, there's actually, I know there is more to this for me than this. Like, there's that also a thread of knowing that there is more available, not in a arrogant, I'm better than this way, like in a, I feel like there's something else here for me. But then also with this, like, I want to say, I'm just going to say it as it is, because this is exactly what it is, and I was in this for a really long time, is a victim mentality. Like, why does this keep happening to me? Why can't I have a better run? Like, why isn't it different? Like, because I wasn't choosing differently. I was choosing to face it with that, because I didn't have the tools and the resources to look at it any other way until I decided that I'd had enough, and it actually required me to take some ownership, that I was then able to look at it a different way. And this is the question that you kind of just asked me before, is like, how do we, well, not how, but like, what's the practice that we are doing every day to keep us, that we keep ourselves accountable, that we keep ourselves responsible? Like, how am I creating the things that are frustrating me at the moment? Like, what am I actually doing about it? And that is how we live our life, right? Like, that's how you make magic out of all of the little moments, the big moments, and that's how you actually create your life. You go from the victim to the creator.
Yeah, life's happening to me, and it's all just, you know, I'm just a victim of the situations and people and circumstances of my life, and it's a very disempowering place to be.
Knowing that both of us lived there for a really long time.
A very long time. And one of the hardest processes, you know, for me with my story was accepting that my life had become completely unmanageable. Like, how I was doing it was not working. And having to do that quite publicly, and to make, you know, to accept that I needed help beyond what I was doing, and have to go to rehab, and then sit in that place and have nothing else to do other than
look in the mirror, inspect
how I was showing up and how I was creating my reality. And it was terrifying and freeing. Like, it is when you are able to fully embrace, I am the creator of my reality. So how am what am I contributing in this situation for this to come about? And yes, some people will find this, and I found it very confronting at first, because I was like, how dare you tell me I'm choosing to be depressed? How dare you say that I'm somehow contributing to the fact that, you know, I've struggled with so much trauma and the things that have happened in my life? And like, again, I would say, sitting with this, if it feels really like quite reactive, then what's in it for you? Because inquiry is the place that begins to create freedom. Freedom from the story, freedom from the mentality of like, life's happening to me and I'm helpless, right? I'm completely helpless, to feeling absolutely there still are consistently situations that I don't prefer. And I can spend a lot of time and energy and focus arguing with what is unfair and what I don't like. Or I can choose to focus my attention to something that now I find much more helpful, which is, what am I going to do about it? Because arguing with what is like yelling at a brick wall in front of you, right? Like, it's there, so then fighting it is not going to change it. It's like, okay, but what am I going to do about it? Has got much more, there's so much more potential in that, right? Because, sure, you know, the job you have might not be ideal. Great, okay. What does an ideal job look like? Oh, well, okay. I begin to, you know, well, these might be some elements that would be an ideal job. Great, okay. So then, you know, you start to steer your attention towards, well, then maybe I might look for another job. Or like, what am I going to do about it? Or I'll stick with this job. You know, I guess feeling more empowered to make decisions instead of just being, you know, like a beetle stuck on their back with their legs in the air, just going, oh, well, this is just my lot, right? Like it's not a great place to be.
No. And what's really, like, you and I have obviously had our awakening, if that's what you want to call it, the moment of like, holy shit, there's another way. I'm going to just dive into that not knowing what it is. We had that at the same time, separate, and then we've come together and decided to build this business. And what this has been is the biggest initiation into stepping us into the woman behind the business who can lead ourselves into this more, like, or this, into our true calling, like into our purpose. And this business has been the space that has held us through that initiation, like to be the woman who can lead ourselves, because we both know, and we've said this multiple times before, that if 12 months ago this business had blown up and got really busy and we'd got all the clients that we thought we needed and wanted and all the things, that would not have served us at that time, because we would have gone straight back into our old programming, the old way of running things, pushing, hustling, grinding, throwing the family in the bin and putting all of our attention onto the business.
Without a doubt.
Working all the long hours and all of the things, my people pleasing and
self-sacrifice and just work to be successful. It has to be hard. All of that story would have just come up. So it would have been like, beautiful. This is familiar, right?
Away we go.
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And so the work that we do and the woman that we are here to serve is the woman who knows she wants to lead herself differently, that wants to lead herself into her true purpose, not what looks good on paper, but what feels good as well. And it takes time. Like, we naively, and thank goodness, I'm actually grateful that we were so naive and just thought it was going to magically happen.
Yeah.
But what has happened instead has been the most beautiful journey and initiation. And this is the thing, life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you need to evolve and grow. And we've been given opportunities to stretch ourselves, to expand ourselves, to to initiate us. I think that's just the perfect word, into our next evolution, so that we can get to this point where we are clean, we are, like you say, free from all of the hooks that we, like the need for money, like this, that's been a huge one. We've been really stretched and tested, and which is great, because we're rewriting our money story. Like, we thought we needed
so important
money to be successful, but this is what we talk about all the time too, right? Is success without sacrifice. Like, what does success really look like for you? Because for me, before, I thought it was money, status, approval, things. Like, if I had things and money and people, it looked like I was doing well, that was success. But what actually success looks like for me is all the things that I was giving up. All the things that I was sacrificing. 100%. So completely flipping that on its ass and putting all the old stuff in the bin and rebuilding has been like huge. So this business has allowed us to do that. And of course we haven't had everything that we thought we would need, because it's not what we need.
And thank goodness we didn't.
I'm so grateful. Like, because what we need is the opposite.
What it's done is it's been that constant invitation to do this compassionate inquiry. This piece that is just, and it's one of the hardest things, I guess, as a coach, is that you can't do it for other people. Yeah. You can simply create that's why we have chats with Charlie and Ash, because we know that the most powerful thing we can do is be our authentic selves and share our stories, and that becomes the little glimmer of like hope for somebody to see that like is possible. Change is possible, and living a life with more freedom. And sure, there's still nothing wrong with being ambitious and wanting to have, like for me, adventure is a big part of it. I want to be able to travel and, and provide those opportunities for myself and my children and see my family. Those things are fantastic. And it's something that I want to, that I will pursue and continue to. But it's the energy that comes underneath it. Like, I don't need it because then it's going to make me enough, or I'm not chasing it because it's for the recognition, and then then I'll have some value. It's those are the hooks, those are the stories that we've been working on to free ourselves from, because it's like those things are what, at the very same time, are also what bring you down, because the pursuit of something outside of us to make us feel enough is inevitably never going to be satisfying. And I know this firsthand, because essentially I had reached the pinnacle of my career. Like, the aspiration I set myself at about 19 when I was at university was, I want to be a consultant that helps farmers, maximize their business whilst doing the right thing for the environment. And I'd done it. I had hit the jackpot of running my own consultancy business, doing exactly what I'd set out to do 20 years ago. Making lots of money, so being able to just buy things without it being too much of a problem, driving a fancy car, all the things that I thought were this is going to make me feel great. They didn't. There was still a horrible, hollow, empty feeling in my supposedly, husband, picket fence, 2 kids, home, all the things. I had all the things. None of it was scratching an itch. None of it was filling this hole I had in me, which was just, it was a constant ache. And hence my substance abuse and the need to numb myself, because I was not living in alignment with who I was. I knew it, and I kept just trying to avoid it because I was still chasing the illusion of the version of success I thought it was. And so it's taken a lot of work, and continues to even though I've decided those versions of success are no longer for me, there's still a pathway there, right? It's still a pattern. I lived that way for 30 plus years of chasing that illusion. So it's taking some undoing to kind of come back to a sense of knowing that being a present conscious human being a present loving mother, a considerate, kind and loving wife, the things that perhaps were just those are just sideline things, or what you said, those are the things that I sacrificed in order to be someone, That's taking some time to settle with the new measures of, am I doing well, so it takes a bit of reminding, but my gracious, it's a whole different way of living and being that is so much more rewarding. And like you said, this business has been an incredible vehicle for that change. The invitation constantly to check in and see with I don't feel successful. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What by what measure am I not successful?
And that is why we are so passionate about this work that we do, is because women building a business, it's courageous already. You are ambitious, you're courageous, you're not afraid to go after it, go and
do the things, do the work.
Exactly right. And you know that you have magic here to share with the world. Maybe it's being channeled in not quite the right direction at the moment. Maybe, if you're like me, it's being channeled into something that you think you should be doing, and there's just this little pivot that needs to happen. But it's the woman behind the business. You get to have the business that you love. You get to live in your purpose. You get to make lots of money while you do it. You get to be the present loving wife, mum. You get to have fun. You get to be all of that as well. You do not have to sacrifice any of those things. You get to have it all.
In fact, the more you are those things, the more successful your business is, because the more magnetic you are to the right people, right? I think this is the paradigm shift that we've realized, is that I was so good at projecting the image of having it all together and being a certain way, and I believed that was, but what it was costing me underneath was incredible, and it was having such a toll. And so it's for me, getting used to the idea that by being me, by taking care of myself, by doing the things that I feel called to and that I'm passionate about, by actually enjoying myself and my life, I get to then be of greater service to the people that I want to work with. I get to earn a living being me, joyfully me, it's that. What? What do you mean?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Hang on. And I think that's for me, that whole like success takes sacrifice was so deeply ingrained that it's taken quite a lot of like getting used to be like, oh, hang on, so it doesn't have to be hard. And in fact, the better I take care of myself, the more I enjoy my life, the more creative I am around what I want to do, the more magnetic I am to the right women who want to come and do this work, who are being invited in to live the way we're living. It's like, oh, right, that's different.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Throwing out this work-life balance bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, I am who I am, and by being who I am, I'm being of service, and I get to do and be in the business that I want to be. I don't have to leave myself at the door and then put on my blazer and my, and the business face, and then start being someone else in that space, and then I can return home and be me again. No,
yeah,
we don't need that duality. It's not. It's not necessary.
Especially
it's an
when
illusion.
you ask yourself what the cost of that is. Like you were doing that, and we've spoken openly about this before in a couple of podcasts ago about, like, really, it was money, it was status, it was validation, approval, all the things that we said before. Like that was why we were choosing that way. And when you really are honest with yourself and start to unpack it and lay it out on the table, it's like, oh my God.
I always say that like my ego was so strong, like my desire for success, to be seen as successful, to have achievements, was so strong that it overpowered my addiction. Like my substance abuse was secondary to my need for being seen to be successful. And that's intense. Like that is, but once I could see that, once I could really take ownership of that, I freed myself from it, because instead of just being stuck in it and being like, that is what I need to do, I suddenly started to become the observer of the stories I was living by. And it was like, holy shit. Like that little bit of space, initially quite painful, not gonna lie. Like really, truly having to see yourself and what you're doing is not easy. Hence why we encourage, that it's done in a safe space, being held and supported, so that we can look at this stuff and move through it, not become re-trapped by it, because you can also then buy into the new illusion of like, oh my God, I'm a disgusting human being. Look at me. That's another little, we can bypass the actual awakening and just buy into a new narrative that keeps us stuck as well. So yeah, it's not to say there's not some gritty bits, but the gritty bits become worth it when you then start to disentangle yourself from the stories and be able to be with, how am I going to choose to respond here? Because again, it's not a control and manage myself, force myself. It's just, it's just not necessary.
Absolutely. And again, just reflecting on like what has been the big things that's enabled us to actually go from living that life where it's like that victim mentality, this is all just happening to me, it all feels really hard, I don't know what to do, like Groundhog Day, to being like, I create my reality, life is happening to me, for me, I always get that mixed up, and it's like it's been, we've had each other to be able to have that space, and now we're creating it for other women to come in, and it feels like, because we've got our beautiful group container, and like the thing that they say every single week that we meet up is like how much they value the space, the environment, each other, because, and we've said this heaps before as well, and I'll say it again because it's so true, is like you go out into your world and this unfortunately isn't the common way of living, and so you're getting constantly drawn back into the old metrics, whether it's your partner might be challenging you, or your friends are like, what the hell are you doing, or your just your environment this is a different way of living. So having a place where it's normal, you are able to be all of you, you get to bring it, you get to move through, like bring your wild, crazy, ambitious idea, and it be like, hell yes, like how are you going to make that happen? Not, I don't know, like that seems a bit much or whatever. But having the space together has been huge, and that's why we want to create this for other women, is having a landing place where it's expansive. There's, it's inspiring watching other women. You get to build momentum, and it's that safe place to just be exactly who you want and need to be. Because, we were talking about this morning, like having women, people who essentially don't really know you, but embrace you because they are living that way too, and embrace all of you for being you, is just like, I can't explain it. There's no judgment, there's no comparison, like competition,
like
all of that kind of crap. It's like,
and the conversations are about possibility. It's like, what's the potential here? Like, what are we gonna, I think all too often it is like a form of addiction, is this complaining and focusing on the negativity and going round and round it, and like the difficulty of everything. And it's like, if that's where you're focusing your attention and your energy, then that's what your life is made up of, right? And this is the conversations we have are about inviting in the, what if this works out for me? What if this is a raging success? What if it all is amazing? And what if it, it's like, wow, okay, hang on, that's...
Because the truth is, there is absolutely, I spoke on my Instagram stories this morning, it's like, there is no way you could fail. If you are choosing to live differently in the fullest expression of who you are and what you want, and open to exploring what your real purpose on this earth is, and you going for it, there's no way that you can fail. There just isn't, because you're giving it a go. You're already a winner for being open enough to step into that.
And sure, you're going to have bumps along the way.
Absolutely.
I think this is the really, really important part to get clear. It's like, there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. So if something that you've decided to do doesn't go to plan, what is the feedback?
Yeah,
what is the lesson in it?
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, okay, well, actually, I might do it, tweak that, add this. I hadn't thought of that. When you have that kind of, that's what I mean, that possibility mindset of like, right, okay, well, that didn't go the way I thought it was. What would I do differently? How am I going to make, it's like, keep inviting in the lessons and the learning. Then you just keep doing it again and again and again. It might take 1,000 times before you, like, it suddenly, and then it just takes off. But all we see so often is that the moment that somebody has now broken through and been successful, and we think that it happened overnight. We don't see all of all of the times that you have to pick yourself back up and go, no, I'm keeping my eyes on the vision, on that dream that I've set, that like, I'm going to trip over and I'm going to get back up and I'm going to carry on.
And that's the absolute definition of life is happening for me, because as you're saying that, I was like, oh, give me the 1,000 times that I fall over, because that's the gift. Like, I keep getting the gift. If rather than what I would have seen it before is like, oh, why does this keep happening to me? It's the same thing. Like, oh my God, this is so frustrating. And now I'm like, what a gift. Like, there's more here for me. If the same thing keeps coming up, great. Like, there's still more here for me to move through, because clearly I'm not ready for the thing that I want, because there's still stuff coming up. And so that is like, even just as you're saying that, it completely shifts how you look at things, and it comes back to that start. Like, what is made for me will not miss me when I'm in alignment with it. And so if I want that thing and I keep getting dealt these things, and I have the mindset of this is happening for me, amazing. Like, that's how life gets to become an experience and not a slog and oh, this is so hard. It goes to being like, this is so magic.
Because each time you look at it, it's the freedom that I experience now in life, is that every time I sit with something that feels like a problem or disappointment or failure, it's like, oh, actually, there's a lesson in there, and I now feel a little bit of another level of freedom from it, that I'm like, oh, okay, right. And so then, like you say, you begin to invite it in, because it's like, well, actually, the clear and the clean I am about this, about money, about like my purpose, about wanting to be in partnership, about creating a business that is a freedom-based, purpose-driven business. It's like all these things, I just get more and more clear about how that feels, and then I have the ability to move through, like, it's stepping out without knowing what's going to be happening next, but knowing that, like, by taking this step, I'm going to learn something, and I'm going to keep creating the life that I really want.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I think about it in like a tangible way. You go back to myself a few years ago of waking up in the morning, like heavy in the, like, I can almost sort of re-feel it as I just took a breath then, like this heaviness in my chest, almost like an anxiety around, how am I going to keep doing this? How am I going to make things work? Can I pay the bills? Like, this heaviness, like dread feeling, to now waking up. Sometimes it's still there, I'm not going to lie, but I can flip it around. Most of the time I'm waking up thinking, like, I'm so excited to move on my mission today. I don't know what it's going to look like. Every day looks different. And knowing that whatever comes into my orbit or whatever comes into my day is exactly what I need, and I get to be the woman who moves through it. And how am I going to keep taking action that is making me a match to what it is that I want? How am I going to keep creating? How am I going to keep serving and adding, like, helping other women see their potential and live in their purpose? It's like, it's a whole different lens on how I look at life and how I operate. My life looks very similar from the outside. Who I am being inside my life is completely different.
And I think, as you're saying that, like, the tangible is, like, for me, it's having fun.
Yeah.
Like, actually enjoying my day, my life, because what I used to be very good at was just grinding it through, just pushing through, just dealing with it. A now thing is being able to slow down, to do the observing before the reacting. So,
Yep. And that's the bit that feels like the thing you don't want to do is slow down. We feel like we need to keep going. However, that has been one of the biggest things for both of us, is being able to slow down, because you can't see if you're racing. You miss it all. It's like going 200 kilometers an hour. You can't tell me what color dog that was.
but also the misunderstanding that you've got to stay busy, focused on the problem, because then I will come up with a solution, and actually leave it alone.
Yeah.
Go and do something that you enjoy. Go and relax. And in that process of relaxing, and suddenly you'll get an aha moment of, like, oh. And so shifting the attention from, like, I've just got to keep grinding with this and making this somehow work, to putting it down. It could be just moving away from the computer. You know, it's whatever it looks like for you.
Yeah. And what we offer is a playground to let that in, to create a new way, to find what works for you, whether that be listening to this podcast, whether it be coming to our breathwork event. Maybe it's the resources, the free resources that we have, or the entry points, or maybe it's coming and working with us inside one of our coaching containers.
It's finding a way to experience what it's like to slow down from the thinking and begin to feel what it is that you want to do next.
And then be able to take action on it. That is what we're offering. So yeah, if this is resonating with you and you're enjoying and want more, then you can find loads of stuff at our website. We've got a brand new website, which is super exciting. Heaps of information there. We've got like journals, articles, we've got some free resources, there's a quiz, we've got our ebook, we've got events, all of our stuff there, or more information on our actual coaching containers is available on our website, charlieandash.co.nz. So yeah, you can head there. I'll leave the link in the show notes for that as well, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Come and check us out.